my theory is that we, as humans, that is our evolutionary path, is to reincarnate.
We're off to our first show in a theater space, our own theatrical production of Pantheon with Tom Block. Very happy.
First time.
Yay.
If everybody comes, no guarantees.
Of
No
course,
guarantees.
never fucking know anything, of course.
This
Hello.
is the stage.
Hello.
Joan, this is your tribal Baroque team.
Hi, I'm
Lila. and
Leela,
Bob.
nice to meet you.
And they'll be building their work with you in a couple
Leela,
of
nice to meet you.
God, look at this.
Very cute. That's pretty for the opening.
Although you could add a little bit.
Yeah, let's, what, we'd like this for the opening.
With or without the sidelines?
With the sidelights.
Yeah, that's nice. Tech rehearsals are always weird, aren't they? We don't do tech rehearsals ever with our work because we're always performing outside. So they're kind of strange. But we're ready. Never know what to expect with an indoor show. An indoor show is very, very different from an outdoor show. Outdoor show, we go, of course we have no idea what's going to be happening in the space at the Angel Tunnel. Don't know if there's going to be big, loud boom boxes or people yelling at each other or weddings or events or, you know. But we go and we dress up 100% regardless of that. And we go and we get interrupted and sometimes we have lovely, lovely experiences. But there's no real pressure from an audience. There's no expectation. We just go and we're doing it for ourselves. We're very lucky that we're able to make a living and do it pretty consistently, even though it's a public space. Pretty amazing. It's different.
All right, thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. With an indoor space, it's totally different. There's the pressure of a producer having paid for the space and promoted it, and a pressure to perform at a certain level and entertain people, even though we're being recompensed before we even perform, which is nice.
Yeah.
But there's a feeling of, yes?
How is it starting? Are you coming on stage in the dark?
Oh yeah, I was gonna. How do you feel about doing indoor shows?
Undecided.
You're undecided?
It always has a certain feeling, but what I most would want to do is to have a really beautiful show that is always within the public domain.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Thank you.
I need some water.
Do you? Yes, we do speak English, so, does anybody have a specific question that is percolating in their mind? Yes.
I got one. Who was exactly the stranger? Who would that represent? Because they came out with the electric beasties, but who would that represent at today's time?
That's an interesting thing. That's
a great question.
That's like a great question.
It's a great
wow.
question.
I'm impressed.
Very impressed.
That's very good.
Well, we wrote The Stranger initially as a representation of what we experience performing in public spaces. We get oppressed a lot by amplified music. Amplified music will come in and other performers will come in and just turn it up really loud and we're not able to perform anymore. So I guess that was at the back of our minds when we were writing The Stranger. So he sort of represents.
And also, the stranger is the shadow figure behind advertising based upon this kind of thing.
Yes.
This being is hidden from us, and his machinations are unknown, and he pervades this many electronic devices and when I see them on the subway, I see like 98% of people have these devices. So it goes very deeply to me in regards to this, because that's a lot of lack of presence. And when there's lack of presence, then a lot of shit can happen. So the stranger is that. And he's very seductive because he's purveying these things that are so wonderfully playful. As he said, they can do anything for you. And they can, as we do know. But so it represents that, and it represents the way it's advertised. It's not advertised telling us how dangerous it is. That is always hidden by various things.
And
yes.
the stranger is in the show. The stranger is masked, so he's called the masked stranger. So he's wearing this falseness of what he is trying to project to the townspeople. He goes into different towns in these fantasy worlds and seduces them with this very corrupt, which we consider it corrupt because ours is so organic and natural and real. And he comes in with this slippery, slimy thing, which we use to describe amplification.
Yeah, and I brought the violin out because I'm going to show you some themes, because this theme is that being, because you might remember it. I'm running out of hair.
Yeah.
And that sound, it represents this entity coming in. It's very slimy, very minor.
Snake-like.
Snake-like,
Yeah.
It's fun to play.
The actor.
The opportunity to.
The actor who plays this role for us, he's very gaunt and thin and tall and very creepy, bony type of creature. So
Very bony.
yeah. So in between us, it's a very, and he's he kind of has a hunchback. So
Have you produced this piece with that actor in any form?
yes.
Good
Where?
question, Tom.
We performed this piece in Amsterdam this last August with him. His name is James Swanton. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Blessings.
In August in Amsterdam. And we brought him to Amsterdam and we performed it in a couple of art galleries with some really amazing art friends of ours. It was an amazing experience. James is somebody I've known since I was 10 years or something, so that collaboration was really special for me.
For me, it was you met James at the same time as you found me,
Yeah.
so it's interesting.
But he's British, so
British.
we like collaborating with unusual weirdos like us.
It would be lovely to have him on a stage
Yes.
with us, doing that narrator, walking, because part of what we're encountering at the moment is we're encountering a time issue. And we really want to do the music at the time that it's talked about, so
Yeah.
it's not like they fall in love and then all the way over there, but right after it, and I think the communication will be clearer.
Yeah, that he can slink in between pieces and say what's happening in that moment instead of tell the whole section of that story and then we tell it in music. But that's how we're able to do it at this moment.
Yes.
I'm just curious of your musical sources. Where do you crib from classical repertoire and then you take inspiration from whatever's out there, or how would you place yourself?
Would you like to go first?
Sure. I grew up listening to opera. I love Verdi and Mozart, Rigoletto and Don Giovanni and Die Zauberflöte and all those. I wanted to be an opera singer when I was young, and I was pursuing that up until a point, and then I met Thoth, and I realized that I'm never going to be able to fit into that mold. I never did. So I just left it entirely and learned from him how to write my own operas and write my own music in this very unusual, strange way, two-person opera. but yes, there's a lot of classical influence, but it's just from our upbringing, and I love classical music, but I also love Bulgarian music and Middle Eastern music, and
Electronica.
I love there's some electronic music I love. So it just, we're not specifically playing any other kind of music, but the sounds come out from how we were raised and our influences. You?
I'm going to go very far back because it's just the
Don't
way
go
it
too
goes.
far.
It's far enough. I don't remember past that. In my mother's womb, I started singing,
Oh,
and
yes.
she has she's a drummer. And she is the first African American drummer for a symphony orchestra, and she became somewhat well known because of that. And when she birthed both me and my sisters, we were born, and she was playing on Broadway, on the pits, drumming. So I'm very rhythm-based violinist, and that didn't work very well in school because they're not rhythm-based violinists in school. They're based on many, many notes. So it became difficult for me, but I fell in love with Wagner's music somewhere along the line, and mostly because he depicts a opera called Tristan and Isolde, and this opera is like one of the most esoteric principles on the death dance done in opera, and it's done in terms of tones, and I learned so much. I listened to this over and over and over because I was intrigued by the fact that he could, from the beginning of that opera to the moment Isolde dies, create this swell and increasing harmonic tension up until that point, so that you, as a listener, can experience somewhat. You can experience that. This was a major influence in me, because for the first time, I really got it. That opera could be used it could be used to physically entrain and teach in a way and to do a thing that I really believe in, and that is to death dance. So for me, Wagner was, the other people who talk about it are Buddhist monks. I think Hebraic, the spinners and the dervish knew about it. I think the tribal peoples of the Americas, and I especially theorize that when the Europeans came over to, I'm digressing, excuse me, came over to the Indies, they saw this death dance, and Christianity has turned people into such a fear of death thing that they thought of it as sacrificing. Yes. I'm talking too much these days. You are talking too much.
Actually not, because it does make sense to put Wagner in that context. Because so many of
Interesting.
his operas have to do with death.
Yes,
and have to
he's
do
all
with-
about death.
Yes,
Yeah.
but also with love.
Yes,
And where
love and death.
and where-
That's one of his
and
pieces.
Tristan is one example, but there, Tannhäuser is another
Yeah,
one.
truly.
Tannhäuser is another one. Yeah, so.
Thank you
makes
for
perfect sense.
following up on that with me. That is appreciated immensely. Mozart like crazy, Bach. When I first started playing in the street, I had come from growing my dreadlocks and getting really wild, and nobody would hire me in restaurants anymore because I was dirty. So I started playing in this violin in the street, and I immediately memorized the Bach concertos. I started playing all of these things from memory within a very short period of time. Tchaikovsky, I would do that violin concerto, and then somewhere along the line I got majorly bored with this, and the word of necrophilia came up into my mind, and I said, you know what, I have my own stuff, let me do that. So I started playing my own stuff, and as I was playing my own stuff, I was realizing that people's hearts opened more to my stuff than they opened to the other stuff, so I started doing that, and it led to meeting this beautiful wife of mine also.
And we met in Central Park, in this place called the Angel Tunnel, where we still perform on and off. We're there now playing 5 days a week. That's where we met. And I was going to theater school and went and found the Angel Fountain. If anybody knows Bethesda Terrace, there's an angel, and it's very specific. We focus on the angel and learning to be angels through watching her and learning from her despite all the chaos that happens in that area. There's a lot of amplified stuff that goes on around there that's very oppressive sometimes. But we learn how to be strong doing this in public, and it's a privilege to do it inside because we have quiet
Yes,
and focus.
I thank you for coming to see us
Yeah.
inside.
Because this is a rare occurrence. Yes?
What is the process of writing for you, and how, or the motifs, or and how collaborative is it, or do you both have specific roles, or is it fluid?
That's a nice question.
We're entwined in
yeah,
each other.
we're together
We're almost like
24/7.
one being.
Yeah, we're together all the time. Been together for 10 years. Maybe been apart never consecutively for like maybe a week. So everything we do is together, and we start with a story. We start by writing an original story. That can take a few months. We're starting on a new one now, which we're thinking of basing it around Parvati and Shiva, which is a similar story to our meeting. But it starts with a story, and we try to create a dynamic, dramatic story that's engaging for people. And we learned only in the last 5 years having narration is helpful because people know what the story is. Because we know what it is. When we're telling it, we know what we're saying, so to speak, and what we're emoting, but nobody else does. So having narration is great. And then we'll go in and take each section, we'll split it up into about 12 sections, and take each section and write little violin motifs for each section depending on the emotion that's needed for the music. And then we will try to take the pieces out in public as soon as possible when they're really babies and we don't know what we're doing.
We call them babies.
Yeah, they're babies. And it's quite a mess, and it's a fun mess, and it's very exploratory and improvisatory because the sound, the music, the singing comes a lot from just experimenting and improvising together with these solid violin motifs that we have. And we can explore, and then we can get into a rhythm with it once we do it in public a lot. This piece we didn't perform in public as much as other operas we've written, so I want to say it's a bit more gentle, but when we, but it's
That
not.
might sound odd.
Yeah, that
but
might sound
it's
odd.
actually true.
It is.
We actually can't play these in public because
No.
they're too undertoned.
They really are.
They
It's
have
just
softer
Thoth is
things.
insane, so he just goes totally
He's a
berserk.
berserker.
When there's, sometimes I wonder if I can keep up with him because he's
She
just
gets very nervous.
so insane. It's inspiring though, because he's not a
Thank
spring.
you for saying
Yeah,
that.
he's not a spring chicken, so I hope to be like him someday.
Yours.
Yeah, so it's part improvisation and part not.
And it's also a ton of room left for improvisation
Yes.
because we like to chart out our course, but we really, really enjoy having something happen that will take us into a completely new place.
Yeah.
And that happened a lot.
That
today.
happened a lot today. We also leave space for one completely improvised piece. What was it? Transformation was a completely improvised piece.
And it's for that because as transformation is, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Finding.
Improvisation.
We do that every day in public when we perform. Have one completely improvised piece, even though all pieces have improvisation, and so it's a mixture. If you came many times to see us, you would recognize the pieces, but they're always different, and we always go different
Well, that's an interesting sound.
places. Well,
Incorporated.
Oh my God.
it was fun.
I wanted to follow up, but this, whatever that was, but I wanted to follow up on that. That was say the thing again.
I said amplified sound.
What's our creative process basically?
Again, but it was a very specific thing. I'm going to respond to. Oh well, it'll come back.
It'll come back. Anyone else? Yes.
You say that, like, in your program, you call it a performance, and I'm just wondering how your approach is different for that.
It's always a performance for me.
What does it mean
Yeah.
as opposed
The-
to
The doing of it
performance.
is what it is, really. It's the doing of truly expressing the core of self. Just fully, I'm here, I am, and owning that and honoring the mother source, the divine mother, for that opportunity to so fully embody life. And as I got to understand it better and better, this is a prayer. It's not for anything. It's not from the ego center. I want this, I want that. It's from I am. And so the first thing that we usually do is called Anya, and Anya means I am in my language that I created for my mythological world. And we do it every day, and this is something that we guarantee ourselves to do every day, because by doing that, not only are we giving ourselves the opportunity to really be present with I am, but we have an opportunity then to be whatever it is that it is, and we can be love through our music. And so it's prayer.
Yes,
Prayer.
and constantly, to constantly remind ourselves to be generous, to be humble, to be
Be loving.
kind, to be grateful, no matter what's happening around us, because there can be a lot of things happening that can pull our energy one way or the other, especially in public. So it's a state of being present and being conscious and being aware as a prayer, if that makes sense.
She's very there with us.
You had a question?
I didn't have a question so much as an observation. I came down from White Plains today to hear you because I think I first heard you in 2010 in the fall in Barcelona.
Yay! That's beautiful. Thank you for that.
And I will not forget your voice. It's just ethereal.
Wow.
That's
And
so special.
I don't remember shaved heads back then either.
No,
He did. That was
was okay.
Yeah.
Yours wasn't.
I
mine was
shaved.
different.
And
Yeah.
you were performing in something that was cave-like, I remember.
You were at that show?
Which one?
And I didn't buy your Bethesda CD then. I figured, well, I'll get it from CD Baby. And I have regretted not buying that in Barcelona ever since.
Wow.
Wow. Well, we do have CDs now, if you'd like one.
Wow.
Thank you. Wow.
And what's so wonderful is your dedication to presence.
Blessings. Thank you for this.
Yes.
Thank you.
Because it is so lacking, especially with all our devices. And I fear for our future and the future of our
So do
children.
we. So do we. We do too. And we really hold on to, we feel we are one of the last vanguards of
Something.
something that, because we don't see it anywhere else. There's literally nobody like us that we've ever seen.
And how we live and how
yeah.
what our love is. To us, we're like Romeo and Juliet.
But not in the,
Not with all the other garbage.
not with the death at the end. And
Not at the end.
yeah, true star-crossed lovers where we're really dedicated to each other and to fully manifesting
Helping each other.
beauty, and thus helping other people through just being and not trying to gain this or that. The only reason we'd ever want more opportunities and more success is to be able to give to other people and help other people. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that is
That's
most
beautiful and
shimmering
wonderful. Oh my
memory.
God! Because that was the second year that we were
We
together.
left.
We fled away from New York and
We eloped.
and ran away to Europe
That's
together.
an old time word. And there's-
Ooh, and we miss Barcelona so much.
I did too.
Yeah.
And I was with a gentleman I did not marry. I was engaged to. And
Wow.
that was-
Oh my
and I'm very
God.
glad
Wow.
that did not happen.
Oh my God! That's an amazing full circle. Thank you.
Amazing full circle.
Tom.
And just to finish that story up, that was the time we got arrested, and we were
When?
dancing
Oh,
through
yeah.
through the Ramblas, and
Yes.
the police
The police
cornered
cornered us.
us. They drove their car at us. They came running from every direction. and they chased me. I'm playing and dancing.
Horrible.
It was horrible, but it's funny now. But it was
It's
horrible.
not that funny.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Anyway.
It was horrible.
It was
and then they
horrible.
stole our violins
stole
from
our
us,
violins.
and we had to pay them all this money to get them back. It was
That's
like
because we're violins.
violins.
We bring violence everywhere.
Violins. Violins. No, we don't. Anyway,
That's so strange considering
oh.
all the performers in the
Oh, it's not many more. It's over.
yeah,
It
it's
was
all
over that
fake.
year.
They're all fake performers.
It's all fake
They all have
now.
little permits, and it's really
They
sad.
eliminated
Nobody
busking.
knows that it's happening or that
Nobody
it's
knows
happened.
when it happened either.
Yeah, it's
How interesting.
what a very oppressed world we live in. It's
Oh,
We wanted to go. We wanted to legally, because we love Barcelona. We would be
live
living
there. We would live
but
there.
we were thinking like, how could we fight this? How could we possibly?
We can't.
But
No, we can't even fight it in I mean, in New York, we've gotten arrested for doing the same thing. You know.
and we could have sued the parks for that.
Yeah, but
they
we didn't.
dragged us out off our knees in handcuffs.
Yeah, we get chased around by police more than drug dealers and robbers do. It's unbelievable. Anyway, how are we doing with time, Tom?
One more question.
Okay. One more
Why don't you
question.
run faster?
Why don't you sweat some more?
The relationship with the public and the creative process is really interesting, and maybe you could talk a little bit more about how the public influences some of the songs that are made, or if they do.
Well,
Hmm.
another good one.
That's a good question.
I'm going to start with this one.
Okay.
Because then I'll remember what I have to say.
Yeah.
The public's really important in fashioning pieces. When we are open hearts. We're using a violin. One of the things I learned is that if I could occupy myself in all four centers of my being, and then I can
What does that
invest.
mean?
That means that I'm using dance, I'm using singing, I'm
Yeah.
using a mental activity that my mind then is free to occupy any problem or any construct. And so I practice this. I've lost the
Yeah.
public.
You're so flighty. You're so sweet.
The public. So the public then is an energy, and to be so open and so free, the energy goes into us. And during the times that we are playing and there's a large crowd and everybody's like really eye to eye, paying attention, what we do is unbelievable. If nobody's paying attention, and that's not ego. This is the fact that people are helping us. They're giving. They're loving us. They're helping us with which happened tonight.
Which is how we're helped to fly. We have this buoyancy that happens.
Yeah. It's an extraordinary thing, really. It's a gift to us that
we can
people
feel
watch us.
it's an
because-
exchange of energy.
Yeah.
Because when we put out, you put out so much energy, and if it's just going out constantly, then we're drained by the end. Whereas if it's going out and coming back and going out and coming back, then just with presence, like we can have people just sit down in the tunnel and watch us for an hour, and that's more than gold. It's worth more than gold or silver just to have somebody sitting in presence
And
with us.
holding presence in space with
Yeah,
us.
in a public space, it's so amazing. We had that experience yesterday, I think.
We tried to help Occupy with this, by the way.
What?
Occupy, when Occupy was, because they were trying to hold space at that time, and we went there and played. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting thing. We're good at that.
Holding space.
We're
Yeah.
very good.
We have to, because it's total chaos, and holding stillness and peace within chaos is really important.
Really important. So yes, people are so important.
That's a great place to end.
Yay!
Yay!
So you can see these two in Bedford Tunnel, I think Wednesday through Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And they will hopefully be premiering, or at least sharing, their new opera with us in December, opening the festival at the Wild Project. We're hoping they'll do it for us.
We will.
It feels like an inspiration
Thank
to us
you.
to do it for
Good.
you.
Yes,
Good.
it is very much.
We love Tom.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Tom.
Thank
very
you.
Thank
much.
you. Yay! Oh, that felt nice. That was helpful.
They are.
Thank you
Now
so
know.
much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you. Very nice to
The
meet you.
reason really, really.
Oh,
no.
sorry.
Don't have glasses like that.
Obviously there's a beautiful offering on your part. The independence of the street is also
Yeah, it's important.
important. So,
But yes, conversation would be lovely.
yeah,
I like your voice. It's interesting.
Yes, for giving us space to do
Yeah.
this.
Well, it's just so nice to have,
A nice
almost a full
audience,
house. Yeah,
and people
they
had such good questions,
Yeah,
and
it was very nice.
mesmerized. I
that
mean,
really
yeah.
helped me. And
Yeah,
because I
it
can get
helped.
so it's so intense, and it's such a small space, and
Feels like I'm a major
I
bully.
feel like Thoth is such a monster, and I'm like, I
Take
can't
over.
keep up with you. I can't. Help me! Don't leave me behind. Whew, it's,
No, you offer a nice counterpoint.
See?
yeah, I'm gentle, but it's
Yes.
hard to. It's sometimes
I'm
it's
the
hard
monster,
to hold
and
that.
I'm the monster.
Sometimes it's hard to hold that gentle presence when
Yeah.
Thoth is like, it is. So, Thoth is insane. That guy, he's insane. Sometimes I don't know how to keep up with him. He's bouncing up and down the stairs, and Orietta's really nice, and people liked it. So it's nice. Oh my God! Whoa! Look.
That's like a tornado stuff. This guy had an accident.
That's crazy. Look at that. It's a little bit past 12 and we made it home. We didn't do so well with getting dinner, but we got deli sandwiches, and it's funny. That was quite the experience. I'm glad people enjoyed it.